Imagine this. You are standing in front of a mirror. You see your face, your eyes, your hands. Every detail feels modern, perfectly human, the result of millions of years of evolution. But hidden beneath your skin, buried in your bones and organs, are relics of a much older story. Strange, forgotten features that no longer serve their original purpose. They are whispers from deep time, evolutionary glitches left inside our bodies. Have you ever wondered why humans sometimes get goosebumps when they were cold or afraid? Why do we still carry a tailbone, even though we have no tail? Or why tiny, useless muscles twitch inside our ears as if they once helped us listen to predators in the dark? These are not accidents of biology. They are fossils of flesh, biological time capsules that connect us directly to prehistoric humans, to Neanderthals, to the animals that came before us. Tonight, we are not exploring ruins of a lost civilization or the bones of extinct animals. Instead, we are turning the camera inward, into the hidden archaeology of our own bodies. Our skeletons, our skin, even the way our DNA mutates tell a secret history. And if we know how to read these signs, we can piece together an extraordinary story of survival, extinction, and transformation. Picture a tribe of prehistoric humans wandering across an ice age landscape, shivering against the cold winds. Their bodies erupt in goosebumps, making hair stand on end, once useful to puff up their fur. But fur has long been lost. Only the reflex remains, echoing a survival tool that once meant life or death. Or imagine the tiny, fading muscles around the human ear. In our distant ancestors, they were like radar dishes, twitching toward every rustle in the forest. Today, most of us can no longer move them, yet the muscles remain, vestigial, like a forgotten ruin of a lost civilization, buried in flesh instead of stone. These evolutionary leftovers are more than curiosities. They're proof that the human body is not a perfect machine designed from scratch. It is a patchwork, a survivor's toolkit, carrying forward fragments of traits that once mattered and now linger as mysterious scars of prehistory. They remind us that we are not separate from the ancient world. We are walking archives of it. And so, in this documentary, we will travel deep into the archaeology of the human body. We will uncover the strange traits that evolution has left behind, from the phantom muscles of our ancestors to the tailbones that hint at forgotten forms, from DNA secrets that carry echoes of Neanderthals to the strange glitches in our bodies that modern science still cannot fully explain. By the end of this journey, you may never look at your own body the same way again. For within you lies a map, not of the future, but of the past, a record of what it once meant to be human, when survival was uncertain, when every trait could mean the difference between life and extinction. So, the question is, are we truly modern humans, or are we still carrying the ghosts of our prehistoric selves?
When we talk about evolution, it is easy to imagine it as a neat, linear story. One stage leads cleanly to the next. Prehistoric humans to modern humans. Primitive traits erased and replaced by newer, better ones. But the truth is far more complicated. Evolution does not erase. It modifies, it patches, it adapts. And much like an ancient city built upon older ruins, the human body still carries remnants of its older architecture. Archaeology and biology, in this sense, are siblings. Archaeologists dig through layers of soil to uncover fragments of lost civilizations. Biologists and anthropologists, on the other hand, dig through layers of anatomy and DNA to uncover fragments of our evolutionary past. And what they find is both strange and deeply revealing. Take the coccyx, more commonly known as the tailbone. Every human carries this small cluster of fused vertebrae at the base of the spine. At first glance, it seems utterly useless, nothing more than a fragile point of pain when we fall. Yet, embryonic studies revealed that for a brief period in the womb, humans develop a tiny tail. Most of it dissolves before birth, but the bones remain, locked forever in our skeletons. This is not speculation. Fossils of early primates show us creatures with long, balancing tails. In us, the structure has been reduced to a trace, a monument to a time when our ancestors lived in the trees. Now consider goosebumps. Scientifically known as piloerection, this reflex causes tiny muscles attached to hair follicles to contract, making hair stand upright. For prehistoric humans covered in thicker body hair, this was a survival advantage. In the cold, it trapped heat close to the skin. In moments of fear, it made them appear larger, an ancient form of intimidation, the same way a cat fluffs up when threatened. Today, with our thin coats of hair, the reflex has lost its power. Goosebumps no longer save us from freezing, nor do they scare away predators. They survive only as a biological ghost, triggered when we feel fear, awe, or even while listening to music. Another example hides inside the human ear, the auricular muscles. In some animals, cats, horses, and chimpanzees, these muscles are highly developed, allowing ears to rotate independently toward sounds. For prehistoric humans, this ability may once have sharpened survival. Imagine crouching by a campfire on the edge of an Ice Age forest, hearing the faint rustle of a predator behind you. Turning your ears could mean the difference between life and death. Today, a few humans retain slight control over these muscles, able to wiggle their ears. For most of us, the muscles remain silent, vestigial, like tools buried under dust. The appendix is another infamous relic. For decades, science considered it a useless organ, a leftover from herbivorous ancestors who digested tough plants. While modern research suggests it may play a minor role in storing beneficial bacteria, its evolutionary story remains compelling. Fossil evidence and comparative anatomy show us that early primates possessed much larger appendices, helping them survive on diets filled with raw leaves. As diets shifted toward meat and cooked food, the appendix shrank. Yet it did not vanish. It lingers, sometimes turning against us with dangerous infections, a reminder of evolutionary baggage. These traits are not isolated oddities. They are part of a broader category known as vestigial structures, anatomical or genetic remnants that once had function but now serve little or none. Charles Darwin himself wrote extensively about them in The Descent of Man, using them as key evidence for evolution. If a designer had made humans perfect from scratch, why would we carry useless parts? But if we are products of gradual transformation, then these leftovers make perfect sense. They are pages from earlier drafts of our story. Beyond anatomy, our DNA also tells tales of glitches and leftovers. Modern genetic studies have revealed that fragments of ancient viruses lie embedded within our genome. These are not infections we catch. They are infections our ancestors caught thousands or even millions of years ago, so deeply woven into reproductive cells that they became part of the human blueprint. In fact, scientists estimate that nearly 8% of human DNA is viral in origin. Most of these viral remnants are harmless, silent, like inscriptions on a broken monument. But their presence is staggering. The human body is not just human, but a museum of microscopic encounters stretching back to prehistoric times. And then there are the more subtle remnants, reflexes and instincts we rarely question. Why do newborn babies instinctively grasp a finger with surprising strength? This palmar grasp reflex is believed to be a survival trait from our primate ancestors, whose infants needed to cling tightly to their mother's fur while she moved through the trees. Even though modern infants are carried in arms, the reflex remains, fading after a few months, but reminding us of a time when failing to hold on could mean falling to death. Each of these traits, goosebumps, tailbones, appendices, ear muscles, DNA glitches, forms a hidden archaeological layer within us. They are as much a part of human evolution as stone tools, cave paintings, or fossils, and they reveal something profound. Evolution does not aim for perfection. It does not erase the past. Instead, it builds upon it, carrying forward what is useful, ignoring what no longer matters, but rarely deleting entirely. In this way, our very bodies are museums of lost ages. Every twitch, every scar of evolution is like a ruin built into our flesh. Archaeology often focuses on stones and bones, but the greatest archaeological site may be the one we carry every day, our own anatomy, echoing with the survival strategies of prehistoric humans, Neanderthals, and even creatures far older than us. So, the next time you shiver or notice your goosebumps rise in the cold, remember, you are not just a modern human. You are a layered history of survival, adaptation, and ancient mysteries carved into living tissue.
To truly understand these evolutionary glitches, we must step into the world of prehistoric humans, the cold winds of the Ice Age, the dense forests of Africa, the shifting landscapes where survival was never guaranteed. In this world, every trait, no matter how small, could be the key to life or death. Let's begin with goosebumps, one of the most familiar yet mysterious relics of our evolutionary past. Imagine a group of Homo erectus, perhaps 1.5 million years ago, huddled in the grasslands of East Africa. Night has fallen, and predators circle unseen. The humans are vulnerable, their bodies smaller than lions, slower than leopards, weaker than hyenas. But when the air chills or danger presses near, tiny muscles beneath their skin contract, raising hairs across their bodies. With thicker coats of fur than we carry today, this reflex served two vital purposes: trapping warm air close to the skin and making them look larger, more formidable in the moonlight. It was a survival tool, one that gave these prehistoric humans just enough of an edge to endure. Fast forward to now, the fur is gone, but the reflex lingers. The next time you listen to a haunting piece of music and feel goosebumps ripple down your arms, know this: your body is performing an ancient survival tactic, useless against predators but still echoing the instincts of our ancestors. It is like a ruined temple whose rituals have been forgotten, yet whose structure still stands. Now let's move to another hidden relic, the palmar grasp reflex. Picture a Neanderthal mother in Ice Age Europe. She moves quickly through the snow-covered forests, balancing the weight of gathered wood and food. Her infant, barely a few months old, clings fiercely to the thick hair of her body. The baby's tiny fingers curl with instinctive strength, strong enough to hang on while she climbs or flees. This reflex ensured survival, not for the individual baby alone, but for the lineage of humanity itself. Today, if you place a finger in the palm of a newborn child, you will see this same reflex in action. The baby grips tightly, as if refusing to let go. No fur, no forest, no predators, but the instinct remains. It fades after a few months, overwritten by modern development, yet for that brief window, we are watching a memory in flesh. It is the archaeology of touch, written into the very first days of life. Consider also the auricular muscles, the tiny, almost forgotten threads that once allowed us to swivel our ears like satellite dishes. Travel back hundreds of thousands of years to a group of early humans camping on the edge of a forest clearing. The crack of a branch echoes in the dark. Instinctively, their ears twitch, turning toward the sound even before their heads move. This ability, still alive in many mammals, sharpened their awareness of danger and prey. It was survival encoded in motion. Today, most humans cannot move their ears. A few retain a faint trace of this skill, wiggling them slightly, a party trick more than a defense. Yet the muscles remain, small, vestigial, quietly waiting. They are ruins of a once great defense system, like stone circles in a forgotten desert, pointing to a time when listening meant living. And then there is the appendix, long mocked as useless,
often feared as dangerous when inflamed, but still a clue to our past. Imagine a forest in Africa, millions of years ago. Our primate ancestors survive on raw leaves, roots, and unripe fruit. Their guts are massive compared to ours, filled with chambers for breaking down tough cellulose. The appendix played a vital role then, housing bacteria to aid digestion. But as humans discovered fire and cooking, our diets shifted. The need for a large appendix shrank, but the structure never disappeared. Instead, it lingered, growing smaller with each generation. For us, the appendix can sometimes turn into a deadly liability, bursting and causing life-threatening infections. Yet some scientists now believe it still has a minor role, acting as a reservoir of good bacteria after intestinal disease. Even as it fades into evolutionary obscurity, it whispers of a time when our ancestors lived closer to the earth, eating raw, wild food, their survival written in their guts. And finally, let us turn to the tailbone, the coccyx. Go back 25 million years, to a time before Australopithecus, before Neanderthals, before Homo sapiens. Our distant primate ancestors swung through branches with long, balancing tails. The tail was not decoration, it was an anchor, a rudder, a weapon, even a form of communication. When some lineages began to walk upright, tails became less essential. Slowly, they diminished, reduced to stubs, then fused into the vertebrae we now call the coccyx. But the human body has not forgotten. During early development in the womb, embryos briefly sprout a small tail. In most cases, it dissolves before birth, leaving only the fused bones behind. Rarely, children are born with vestigial tails, shocking reminders that evolution is not finished with us. These cases, though rare, serve as living proof that we carry the architecture of our past deep within us. What unites all these stories? Goosebumps, the grasp reflex, auricular muscles, the appendix, the tailbone, is a simple truth. Evolution is not a straight road, but a palimpsest, a manuscript written and rewritten over millions of years, but never fully erased. Our bodies are like ancient scrolls, where faded words still peek through the ink of newer passages. And each of these evolutionary glitches is more than just a curiosity. They connect us directly to prehistoric humans and the world they lived in, the Ice Age nights when fur mattered, the forests where infants clung for life, the savannas where swiveling ears could detect danger. They are living relics, written not on stone tablets or cave walls, but in our own flesh. When you feel your skin ripple with goosebumps, when you see a baby grip with impossible strength, when you rub the base of your spine where the tailbone aches, you are in contact with the ghosts of your evolutionary ancestors. Their struggles are not just in the past, they live on in you.
If the human body is a museum of evolutionary relics, then scientists are its curators. Yet not all of them agree on what these artifacts truly mean. For every supposed explanation, there are counterarguments, mysteries, and debates that remind us how much we still do not know about our own origins. Take the appendix, for example. For over a century, medical textbooks dismissed it as useless, a ticking time bomb prone to infection. Charles Darwin himself speculated that it was the remnant of a once large cecum used for digesting plant matter in prehistoric humans and earlier primates, but modern research complicates the story. Some immunologists argue that the appendix is not useless at all. It may serve as a safe house for beneficial gut bacteria, helping repopulate the digestive system after severe illness. If this is true, then the appendix is not simply a leftover, it is a subtle but active player in our health. So which is it? A relic or a hidden ally? The debate continues. The same uncertainty surrounds goosebumps. While most agree they are vestigial, some neuroscientists point out that they may still serve a faint psychological purpose. Goosebumps often accompany powerful emotional experiences, awe at music, fear in a dark room, or even spiritual ecstasy. Could this reflex still play a role in bonding,
in heightening our emotional states, in connecting us to experiences larger than ourselves? If so, perhaps goosebumps are not merely broken alarms from the Ice Age, but quiet reminders of how deeply our bodies are tied to emotion, memory, and survival. Then there is the palmar grasp reflex in newborns. The evolutionary explanation that it once helped infants cling to their mother's fur makes sense, but skeptics point out a problem. By the time humans developed less body hair, the reflex would have lost its survival function. Why, then, has it persisted across millennia? Is it simply genetic inertia, a trait that has no cost to keep? Or does it serve some hidden developmental role we do not yet understand? The answer is uncertain, and like an unsolved archaeological riddle, it invites further exploration. When we look at the auricular muscles, the story becomes even murkier. In animals like cats and horses, the ability to swivel ears is essential. But in humans, the muscles remain weak and mostly unused. Some scientists believe they are purely vestigial, remnants of a radar system we no longer need. Yet others have suggested that the faint ability to wiggle ears may have subtle effects on sound localization, so subtle, in fact, that they are difficult to measure. Are we truly finished with these muscles, or are they still quietly helping us in ways too small to notice? The tailbone presents perhaps the most dramatic debate. While it is clear that it represents the remnants of a tail, its purpose today is contested. Orthopedic specialists argue that the coccyx still has a function. It anchors muscles, tendons, and ligaments that support the pelvis. Without it, sitting upright would be more difficult. Others insist that while it has some secondary uses, its main evolutionary purpose, balance and mobility through a tail, has been lost. Which interpretation is correct? Perhaps both. Evolution rarely deletes traits completely. Instead, it reshapes them, like a builder repurposing old stone blocks for new architecture. Beyond anatomy, even our DNA is filled with unresolved mysteries. Embedded within the human genome are countless fragments of ancient viruses, so-called endogenous retroviruses. Some researchers claim they are nothing more than evolutionary garbage, broken sequences that linger like graffiti on an ancient wall. But others have made a shocking discovery. In rare cases, these viral remnants may have been co-opted by evolution and turned into useful tools. For example, a viral gene is thought to play a role in placenta formation, essential for human reproduction. If true, this means that humanity owes part of its survival to ancient viral infections, parasites turned into partners, a glitch transformed into a gift. But not all scientists agree with this interpretation. Some dismiss these useful virus theories as overstatements, pointing out that the vast majority of viral DNA in us appears silent, useless, perhaps even dangerous if reactivated. The debate highlights a larger question: how much of our body is truly ours, and how much is borrowed from evolutionary accidents? Even broader disagreements emerge when we ask, what does vestigial really mean? Does it mean a trait has no function at all? Or simply that its original function has been lost, replaced, or diminished? Take the appendix again. Useless for digesting plants, perhaps, but still a minor immune organ. Take the coccyx, no longer a tail, but still a structural support. In this sense, vestigial does not mean dead. It means transformed, adapted, redefined. This brings us to one of the deepest mysteries of evolution. Why does the body keep these remnants at all? If natural selection is about efficiency, shouldn't it erase what is no longer needed? The answer is complicated. Deleting traits is not simple. Mutations that erase structures can cause harm, and if a leftover trait does not significantly harm survival, it may simply persist. In other words, evolution is not an engineer striving for perfection. It is a tinkerer, endlessly repurposing old parts, leaving scars, glitches, and curiosities along the way. And so the debates continue. Are goosebumps mere echoes of fur-covered ancestors or subtle emotional amplifiers? Is the appendix a ticking time bomb or a hidden reservoir of life-saving bacteria? Are the viral remnants in our DNA dead code or living proof that humanity was shaped by ancient pandemics? Each of these questions mirrors the mysteries of archaeology. Just as archaeologists argue about the purpose of megaliths, pyramids, or lost cities, biologists argue about the meaning of our own body's ruins. Both disciplines reveal the same truth. The past is not silent. It speaks, but in fragments, riddles, contradictions. And perhaps that is the most haunting thought of all. When we look at our bodies, we're not just seeing flesh and bone, we are seeing unresolved debates stretching across time. Questions our ancestors lived through but never wrote down. Questions that remain etched in muscle fibers, bones, and DNA, waiting for us to interpret. So, when we speak of evolutionary glitches, we must also ask, are they truly glitches? Or are they living evidence that evolution is not finished, that we are still in transition, still caught between the world of prehistoric humans and the humans we might yet become?
At first glance, evolutionary glitches may seem like curiosities, strange leftovers that have little to do with modern life. After all, what do goosebumps or a tailbone have to do with smartphones, skyscrapers, or artificial intelligence? But look closer, and these relics reveal profound truths. They are reminders that humanity is not a finished product, but a work in progress. And from them, we can draw lessons, not only about where we come from, but about how we might face the challenges ahead. Take goosebumps. In prehistoric humans, they were a defense mechanism, raising fur against the cold or danger. Today, though the fur is gone, the reflex still activates in moments of awe, at a piece of music, at the sight of art, at the presence of something greater than ourselves. This tells us something important. Survival is not only about biology, it is also about meaning. Our bodies respond to beauty and fear as if they are connected, because in a way, they are. To live through the Ice Age required more than food and shelter. It required stories, rituals, songs, things that gave humans the will to continue. The goosebumps we feel at a melody today are echoes of the survival instincts that once kept our ancestors alive. Consider the palmar grasp reflex in infants. In the wild, it meant life or death, hold on or be lost. Today, babies no longer need to cling to their mother's fur, yet the instinct remains, symbolizing connection and dependence. And isn't that still true of us, even as adults? Beneath the illusion of independence, humans are social creatures. We survive together, holding on to one another, just as our ancestors did. The grasping reflex is more than an evolutionary glitch. It is a metaphor for our condition. We are all still clinging, not to fur, but to one another. The appendix, too, has lessons for us. Once dismissed as useless, it has revealed surprising roles in immunity and gut health. This reversal of perspective reminds us of something crucial. Never assume you know the whole story. What appears useless, broken, or obsolete may still carry hidden value. In the same way, technologies, traditions, or even individuals society considers irrelevant may in fact hold keys to resilience. Archaeology teaches us to respect ruins. Biology teaches us to respect remnants. Both remind us that survival sometimes depends on what we are tempted to discard. The tailbone may seem like the most pointless of all, yet it quietly supports muscles and ligaments we rely on every day. Without it, sitting, standing, and childbirth would be more difficult. Here lies another lesson. Even fragments of the past can be repurposed for the present. Evolution did not erase the coccyx, it reshaped it. Likewise, humanity can transform its past, not erasing old knowledge, but reinterpreting it for new times. And then there are the viral remnants in our DNA. They remind us that even threats can become gifts. What once nearly destroyed our ancestors, ancient pandemics, left behind tools that helped us survive and reproduce. In an age where humanity faces crises from climate change to artificial intelligence, this truth matters deeply. Sometimes survival does not mean avoiding catastrophe, but transforming it into opportunity. Our ancestors turned viruses into allies. What challenges might we transform into strengths today? All these glitches whisper the same message. Imperfection is not weakness, it is resilience. The human body is not flawless, but adaptable. It carries scars, redundancies, even dangerous flaws. Yet these are precisely what made us capable of surviving the Ice Age, of outlasting Neanderthals, of building civilizations. Perfection is brittle, imperfection endures. This perspective can change how we see ourselves. In modern culture, we are often obsessed with optimization, better health, stronger technology, faster progress. Yet evolution teaches that survival often comes not from perfection, but from flexibility, from carrying strange tools forward until they become useful again. The appendix, the coccyx, the goosebumps are emblems of persistence. Think of archaeology. Every ruin tells us that civilizations fall, but also that they leave behind fragments that shape the future. The same is true of our bodies. We are walking ruins of prehistoric humans, but these ruins still serve us. They connect us not only to our past, but to our potential. So, what does this mean for our future? It means that humanity is not the final chapter of its own story. Just as we carry Neanderthal DNA, just as we embody Ice Age reflexes, the humans of the future will carry our traits, our glitches, our scars, our mistakes. We are the ancestors now, leaving traces for them. Perhaps they will look back at us the way we look back at prehistoric humans, astonished by what we carried, puzzled by what we preserved, grateful for what we endured. And this raises a haunting question. Which of our modern traits will become tomorrow's evolutionary glitches? Will our reliance on technology leave strange traces in our bodies? New reflexes, new vulnerabilities, new scars? Will future archaeologists of the body find the fingerprints of smartphones in our hands, or the echoes of pollution in our lungs, the adaptations to digital light in our eyes? Evolution is not finished with us. It is still writing. The true gift of studying evolutionary glitches is not simply knowledge of the past, but humility about the present. We are not finished. We are not perfect. We are in between, bridges between the Ice Age and what lies ahead. Every goosebump, every appendix, every tailbone ache is a reminder that we belong to a story that stretches far behind us and far beyond us. And if we can carry so much of the past inside us, perhaps we are also capable of carrying the future.
We began this journey by asking a simple question. Why does the human body still carry traits that no longer serve their original purpose? Along the way, we uncovered a hidden archaeology within ourselves. Goosebumps echoing the fur of prehistoric humans, a tailbone that whispers of lost balance in the trees, an appendix that tells stories of ancient diets, and even viral fragments etched into our DNA like graffiti left by long-forgotten invaders. These so-called glitches are not accidents, they are evidence, proof that we are not separate from our past, but built upon it. Every step we take into the modern world rests on the bones, reflexes, and instincts of those who came before. Our ancestors survived the Ice Age, outlasted predators, endured famines, and even overcame extinction events, and their scars remain in us. Think about that the next time you shiver at a haunting song, or see a newborn grip a finger with astonishing strength. These are not just quirks of biology, they are living fossils. They are the shadows of Neanderthals, the whispers of Ice Age hunters, the silent presence of prehistoric humans, still alive in our flesh. And perhaps that is the deeper truth. We are not perfect beings, polished and finished. We are patchworks of survival. Our bodies are not designed machines, but layered manuscripts, rewritten, scarred, sometimes contradictory, yet always resilient. So what does this mean for us today? It means that imperfection is not weakness, it is a record of endurance. It is the mark of a species that adapts, bends, and carries its history forward rather than erasing it. Just as archaeology teaches us to respect the ruins of lost civilizations, evolution teaches us to respect the remnants inside ourselves. But it also leaves us with a haunting question. If so much of the past still lives within us, what traces of us will remain in the humans of the future? Will they look back at us as we look back at Neanderthals, with curiosity, with wonder, perhaps with gratitude? Or will they see in us their own evolutionary glitches, scars of a time when humanity was still unfinished?
That perhaps is the greatest mystery of all. So as we close this journey, let me ask you, when you feel the goosebumps rise on your skin, when you sense the echo of something ancient in your body, do you see it as a glitch or as a reminder that you are part of a story far older and far larger than yourself? The past is not gone. It walks with us, it breathes in us, it is us. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest archaeological discovery is not found in stones or bones, but in the quiet relics carried inside every single human body. If you enjoyed this exploration into the hidden history of our bodies, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Join us again as we uncover more secrets of prehistoric humans, lost civilizations, extinct animals, and the mysteries of human evolution. The journey into our past has only just begun.